Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 1 of episode 4 of the Joshi Dream Cast. I am Scott Edwards, your host, and with me is Karen from Karen Watches Wrestling. Karen, how are you doing on this fine, what is it today? Monday morning?
I never know what day it is
No,
anymore.
no,
I am doing
no.
great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here right now.
Yeah, it can't. This was the perfect weekend, I think, to have as many people on here to talk about what happened. We had three phenomenal shows. I want to give credit to Sendai Girls as well. They delivered a phenomenal show with a phenomenal main event that I will tell everyone to go watch at the end of this show. But
I concur because I actually bought that show and I'm
mm,
so glad I did. That was my first time watching a Sendai Girls show too, and it was amazing.
it's so funny because like I was coming down. I live downstairs or whatever. I was coming downstairs and I'm like, I look at my timeline because I had been off Twitter for the day or for the night, and then I check and it's like, oh, the Sunday Girl show started. I was like, it already started. I was like, okay, I'm going. Get to the TV, get to the computer,
Sure.
log in. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I wasn't ready for that, but I should say Karen is here to talk to me about TJPW Summer Sun Princess, a show that many fans have said may be the best Joshi show of the year. Now, there's been a lot of good Joshi shows. I want to put that out there. Like we are
Yeah.
at an all-time high in some ways when it comes to the quality of shows that we are seeing in the Joshi world. And when I say all-time high, I mean since AJW is around, right? Like it
Mhm.
we are Joshi is as back as can be. And if this weekend didn't prove that, then I don't know if there'll ever be a weekend that proves that because it was just so great. But the way I like to do these reviews often is ask you before we even talk about the matches, the wrestlers, the moments, any of that. You when you walked away from the show, how are you feeling?
I just wanted to cry. I was so happy because for me, I started TJPW during the pandemic. It's
Mm-hmm.
not even been a year yet. So I was not used to hearing vocal reactions from the
Mm-hmm.
audience. I was not used to seeing the streamers. So every wrestler's reaction to the streamers and to hearing people make noise and saying their names, I was crying with them. Like I did not get tired of seeing the reactions. And
Yeah,
it made me so happy. And I just want every wrestler to now experience that. It's just like, all right, let's keep going. It was just such a
yeah.
wonderful experience and it really added to the show. It was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, what it proves to me is we can do this all the time now. Like we can,
Yeah.
if companies are willing to, keep fans separated just so that their shows could feel more lively, I think that's the way to go. I know, like Bushiroad's waiting a little bit longer than pretty
Mhm.
much everyone else to do it. They're gonna wait another couple months, but like, see, my hope is ultimately towards those end of the year events. We just have everyone, packed in cheering because I think a lot of the reason people felt this was the show of the year was for that reason alone, right? Was
Mhm.
the lively, you get and streamers are great, but you just have the reactions of fans. You know, I'm the same with you. When I started watching TJPW, it was the pandemic era. So, getting to watch Maki Itoh do her whole thing and everyone just want to see her
Yes.
win, and it kind of made me sad in some ways too, because I'm like, I wish we were doing this when she fought, Yamashita at Wrestle Princess 2 for
I
the title, because just like
know.
that match had so much emotion as is. Just imagine, it gets that tick up, right, with that added on. But it's okay because we have it now and it worked really well. And that's, we brought up how not Spooky Road's waiting. Um, Nagi Sayaka wrestled on the Gambare Pro show, and it was just cool to see
Mhm.
her get those reactions because it's like, she's not gonna get these
Did
for a
you see
while.
Yuri was crying?
Yes. Well, that's the perfect thing that someone pointed out. We are in the era now where rookies have never had crowds before. So
Oh my
like that
god,
was the
yeah.
first time she ever got cheered. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy to think about. Because,
It's really
it's been so
overwhelming.
long. It's been so long.
Yeah.
And you don't really think about it because everyone else is like, oh yeah, they've been around forever. But no, some people are still, you know, getting their first reaction. So that's why it's so crazy to me, but so cool and so pure that I'm happy that these wrestlers are getting it. And not only they're getting these reactions, but they're getting them on big shows too, which makes it even
Mhm.
more important. But you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the
Oh, I
show.
loved it.
So I think it's only right that we start at the very beginning with Moka Miyamoto versus Juri Nagano. I forget what exactly they call it. It's like something karate battle. Um,
I called it the Battle of the Karate Chops, but yeah, it was essentially that.
yeah.
But I think it needs to be highlighted that the way a Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show starts, they had the Up girls perform and they performed 2 songs. Normally they
Mhm,
perform 1. And just like they really set the tone of that show because they were so overwhelmed with joy and emotion because they
mhm,
got to hear the audience like be loud, be vocal, and also say their names. And here they are
mhm,
performing for an audience because as somebody who has been performing since I was a little kid, like having an audience react to you is everything because I can imagine how much of a struggle it's been for the past few years when you aren't able to get that vocal reaction. It's so hard. And Miyu Watanabe was performing like she was earning that paycheck. I loved it. I just have to get a shout out to that.
yes, the I feel like that's something that I always forget, but I remember, was it Grand Princess where they were so emotional, like they were crying as they were doing the performance,
Yeah.
because they were in such a big venue, right? And
Oh my god, that was yeah, that was huge, and it was like
now
we hadn't gotten the noise
right,
yet, and now we've moved
right.
on, and oh my god, it was so good. But
Yeah,
alright, I digress.
it was so good.
Let's go into the first match.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, it's fair to bring up because I think it's just accustomed to TJPW fans by now that like that's how we start shows, but it flies over my head because I'm just so used to it by now. It's like, oh yeah, well, this is just
Yeah.
custom, but that was very cool. But let's get to Miyamoto versus Juri Nagano. You call it the battle of karate chops, and it was very fitting after what we got to see was them trade chops back and forth, trade a lot of cool karate work back and forth.
Mhm.
I think Juri has a lot of potential. I think Mocha does too. I think Mocha is actually the most improved wrestler in TJPW this year. How did you
I was
like?
actually worried about her for this match. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because Juri is so interesting to me because she has what 7 matches to her name, maybe. Like
Is if even, yeah.
she has
It's
the
not been
great
that long.
background behind her, but you know, there's something to be said about adjusting your karate background to wrestling, and Mocha took a little bit to do that, and I think she's showing that
Mhm.
she's made it now, and if I always say if Juria stays with it, she'll be fine, she'll be good to go because I think she has the talent, and they showed it here. They showed it here. So how did you like the match and the karate chops and everything that came with it?
I really enjoyed this match because I wasn't sure how it would go. It's the opening match. This is, a huge deal. But I really liked what Key said on commentary. He brought up that every rival that Mocha has had has surpassed her. And so, she needed to do something, and it seemed like she had enough. And the way that she was attacking Juria, it was like, all right, she found that fire inside of her. She was going after Juria. And I agree with you. Like, Juria, for where she's at right now, is so good, but, she's still got a way to climb, and when she gets there, she's gonna be so lethal, and I
Mhm.
really hope she sticks with TJPW because she's gonna be unbelievable. Like, she's gonna be on par with Miyu Yamashita if she keeps this up, and I really wanna see that happen. I'm so excited.
Well, that's who she's learning from, so it's like
Yeah.
it's almost perfect. I always say that if she went all in like Yuki Arai has, she
Mhm.
would not only would she get better quick because she has the background, because she just has that, MMA background, but I'm with you. Like she would be so good because she has the charisma already, right? She has
Oh, that right!
like you have to have that charisma doesn't charisma is so hard to just have. Either you have it right from the start or it takes time to build it up. We see it in wrestling all the time, no matter, if we're watching wrestling in Japan, wrestling in the United States, it's all like charisma's a worldwide um trait that people either
Mhm.
have or they don't have. You can get it, but natural charisma is untouchable. And Juria
Yeah.
has that, right? And
Oh, yeah.
I think her and Mocha going out there and doing what they did, just to open the show, I credit both of them. It wasn't like a 20-minute war between the two. No, it was like a 5 minute just let's go out there, let's just throw chops at each other.
Just
Let's do
chop
the
each other.
karate stuff
Yeah.
and let's have fun doing it. And that's what I think they did. I think everyone had fun watching it. So it's a
Mhm.
job well done. It's a job well done. That's really what you look for in a in a show opener like that. Because originally, like if you went down the match card that they originally had set, this was like in the middle of the card. So it was really cool
I
that they moved it up.
noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was, ready to start the show, I was like, "Alright, what matches are we gonna see?" And I was so confused
Mhm. Yeah.
watching along. I went, "Wait a minute, I don't think this was the actual
Yeah.
order." So I think they made a great decision to open with those 2. They did a phenomenal job. I know it is a lot of pressure to open a show, and they took it head on, and like you said, Jiria, the moment she stepped out, she shined. She has that charisma that just draws you in, and I guess it helps that she's an actress.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, she is great, and she's definitely one to watch, and it just made me so happy to see Mocha get the win as well, because for me, like, Aki said, it felt like she was just there. She has the
Mhm.
talent, but she's just been there, so this was
Yeah.
huge, and I hope that momentum actually continues because 'cause we're going into Tokyo Princess Cup now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, which we'll talk about at the end of the show, actually. I want to do. You bring up Aki. I want to give credit to both Chris Brooks and Balian Aki,
Mhm.
for what they do on these shows because not every Japanese company offers English commentary. Not every, or if they do, it's usually it's usually very serious. Like it's
Yeah.
it's usual commentators, but these two these two just fit the dynamic of what TJPW is looking for. Like they have fun doing it. They laugh, they make jokes about, like it just feels so natural to the brand. And I just want to give
Yes.
them credit for that because they work off each other so well just because they're legitimate friends. But like I forget what they were talking about, but like Chris Brooks always references like wrestlers he grew up watching
Oh my
as
god,
like
he was
when he
going
sees moves.
overboard with the WWE references.
Yeah, he does it all the time. I'm like, that's so funny. Like,
And
out
Aki
of
called him out on it, but it's like he's legit has said, he's like, "I want to get the best announcer award for the Meltzer Awards." And
you know,
seriously, he does deserve to be in the running because just listening to him and how he calls the matches, and on top of that, he's bantering with Aki, who is
oh
just
yeah,
the perfect companion. I Aki reminds me of myself, like the streamers, he made a comment about Neko streamers, and he's like, "They're black and white." And Chris is like, "'Cause she wears black and white, duh." Like, it was such a mean comment. It was perfect. Like, the balance that they have, it's
yeah,
it's truly magical, and they really deserve the recognition and the accolades
yeah,
for being one of the best commentary duos out there. Like, I'm, like, legitimately serious when I say
yeah,
that. They're so good. It's so rare to find such a chemistry like that, especially in wrestling.
yeah. You can hear Aki like do commentary other places with other people, but it's never the same without Chris Brooks. Like he's solid,
No.
but it's just because they get each other and like they understand each other's reactions. So I just wanted to give them credit for what they do to really just enhance these shows in their own way, because having an English option is always cool, even though I don't necessarily need it when I watch shows. But if there's a good one, if there's a good option, and I make that very clear, if there's a good option, I will listen to it. And I think they're a very good option, very entertaining. But let's move on to the next match. This is very fitting of a TJPW show. We only have one of them. That was like the more shocking thing. Usually we have a couple tags like this,
Yeah.
but we only have
Mhm.
one. And I think that's why a lot of people were so excited for this card because I think that goes for all wrestling in Japan is like, you have a lot of big undercards, but anytime you get a full card pretty much and just like one or two, it's like, all right, this is a win. So this was Aja Kong, Yuki Aino, Raku, and Palm Harajuku versus Hyper Masao, Naokakuta, Kaya Toribami, and Haruna Neko. Just a lot here. Um, these
So
matches are
much.
either this is just the truth. You're either gonna really dislike it or you're just gonna have a lot of fun. If you go into it knowing what to expect, you usually have a lot of fun. And I just couldn't not smile anytime Aja Kong and Hyper Masao did something together, because that for me was like the draw in itself of like, all right, what are these two gonna do here? You don't get your 4-star, 5-star match. You just get a nice comedy. It's what makes TJPW very unique is that they always have at least one of these
Yeah.
matches with some of the
It's like
best
the
that do the
comedy, the
comedy.
antics, the
Yeah.
vaudeville, like,
Mhm.
that's what it is. It really showcased TJPW perfectly, and
Mhm.
it's like, if you don't like that, don't know if you're gonna like TJPW because
Right.
you gotta accept that's what they are.
Yeah, that's what like the TJPW difference is so weird because you watch this and then you watch Miyu Yamashita match like later in the shows, and it's like I could see why this brand attracts a lot of different fans, because there are some people that look for one of those and not the other. There's some people that look for both. And I get it. I get it. I get anyone that watches these and doesn't necessarily get locked in, but I also understand why so many people love TJPW. And
Mhm.
this match really exemplifies that. I don't have like a lot of notes. I just had a lot of fun. Aja
Yes.
Kong is hysterical. She is so funny. And it's so funny to think about like all these years later, like this is what she's doing. She went through vicious
Big
war
bad
after
Aja
vicious
Kong.
war, and now she's like, yeah, the Raku's mine, and it's like
Oh
it's
my
like
god.
okay,
Okay, so I do wanna talk about that because the way that Chris and Aki were describing it, I'm going, "You're leaving out an important aspect." So, storyline-wise, this isn't real for anybody that
yeah,
doesn't know and is confused. Like, Aja and Raku were a thing. Like, Aja was like, "Ooh, I like you. You're mine." And then all of a sudden at, Grand Princess, Raku comes out and is like, "I'm married to Ram Kai Chao now." And Aja like tweeted, "What?" She was so heartbroken. It was like Raku had cheated on her. So
mm,
her mission in this match was to win Raku back. It was like, this lady is mine. I'm gonna get her back. That's why she kept holding her hand. Raku's just
yep. It's
like it
just
was so cute. It was the love story that we needed.
yeah. I like to call it the love story no one knew they needed. That
True.
I need the full sitcom and everything now. I just need the
Yes.
Aja Kong, Raku, Ram Kai Chow love triangle sitcom, where it comes down to Aja Kong just hitting spinning back fist every time she gets angry.
Oh my god, could you imagine if it was like a Raku on a pole match between Aja and Ram?
Sell
I
tickets.
need a
That's the crazy
TJPW book
part.
it.
Yeah, we're gonna give Karen the book, and now we know what match she's booking in the main event of Wrestle Princess. She's gonna put Raku on a pole. Um, well, we can we'll move on to the next match. It was a lot of comedy, a lot of fun. That's my best way
Oh,
to
yeah.
describe it. But next up was the originally scheduled Miyu Watanabe versus Willow Nightingale match that turned into a match that just as good, just as exciting as Rio Mizunami would fill in for Will Nightingale, kind of last minute. I think it was the week of,
Yeah,
because
I think it was a couple days before that they
yeah,
announced it.
Willow was unable to get a visa in time to come over, which stinks. But they did add that she will be over in the future, so that's very cool that she doesn't completely lose the opportunity. I could see her be on that Wrestle Princess card
Mhm.
just so she's on another big show. But this was just a fantastic match. This was, if I was to rank my favorite matches on this show, This would probably be third, which is saying something because I thought there were at least 5 like really good matches, but I really liked this one. This was the one that you told me yesterday in my tweet. Hey, we got to give
Yeah,
this one love.
we
And it
do, 'cause, it's up there for me. I think,
yeah.
like, I'm teetering back and forth, but it's in my top 2. That's how
I
I
think
feel.
that's fair. I saw someone tweet this out that it was the perfect way to get someone over in defeat,
Yes.
which
Oh my god. It was the perfect story that was told in
mm,
that ring that showed you can be simple. You don't have to have high flying
mhm,
antics. You don't have to be crazy. It was underdog in peril versus the dominant veteran, and having that audience
mm,
be able to vocalize and cheer throughout that match just elevated it. It was so simple. It was so effective. Miyu looked like an absolute star. She's a star to me already,
she is a star.
but oh my god, by the end of it, even though she lost, she's getting a title one day. It's happening. And if it doesn't,
Yeah.
I'm flying to Japan somehow and making it happen.
The problem is we're at the Tokyo Princess. We're now at the Tokyo Princess Cup, which means there's going to be a time again where people get sad when she might not win. Which I'm probably on board of that, truthfully, because she's one of my favorites. But
Yeah.
I I like how you said the story of you have the vet versus the up and comer, the one that everyone feels is on the brink of greatness, and you know Mizunami's as good as really anyone to come in and be that vet who gives you a great match, but also just works into your style as well. And so much of the intrigue in this match was getting that swing, right? The first time they tease it, everyone's like, oh, and then she couldn't get it, and
And
they're
I
like,
and
oh,
Aki was like, "You can hear them say, 'You can do it, Miyu.'"
yeah,
Like, they were cheering her
yeah,
on, and that's what you want. Like,
yeah,
for me, what it reminds me of is, like, I've mentioned this before, but if anybody who's new doesn't know, I grew up in theater and performing in theater, so it's very much that audience participation aspect of,
yeah,
like, theater, like, way back, even in Shakespeare with the groundlings. They would react to what's going on, they cheer you on, and it was so perfect. It was so perfect. I can't say
yeah.
enough about it. I love that moment.
And then when they finally got it, the crowd was just so happy. It's like it was just such a perfect way to build to something. Because
Yes.
I think what so many matches or so many of these matches in Japan have missed is that crowd reaction to building to something. And
Mhm.
I think as viewers we've gotten really used to no crowd, so it's not like I'm affected by it because like, I watched the Stardom show right after this. They don't have crowd noise, and it doesn't really affect me because I'm just used to it. But there's just something for especially the undercard matches, right? Not necessarily those main events that are going to, they're going to dazzle. They're going to be everything you
Yeah.
expect them to. But these matches, they benefit the most because you can build to something without a title on the line, without
Mhm.
anything at stake. And that's what this was. In the end, Mizunami did win, but Miyu was at just as much a winner as she was.
Yes. And that's what you want too, is that
Mhm.
she was not hurt by losing. That
Yeah.
elevates her to
Yeah.
something bigger and better down the line. Like, I can feel it.
Mhm.
And just they really ticked all the boxes. They did everything right. And like just as you said, Rio, she will come in at the last minute and she will perform a banger. She is so good and she played the part perfectly. And I couldn't have asked for anything better. When I want like simple, effective storytelling, boom, they did it. It was great.
Simple, effective storytelling, often the best form of storytelling.
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't always have to go down the Nakano road.
No.
Sometimes we can go, the simple storytelling. That's just my wonderful joke for this show because I think last episode was when we talked cage match and everything for Tam, and
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
there was a lot there, right? There's a lot there, so it's only it's only fair that we talk about little simple storytelling this time around.
You need a
Uh,
little break once in a while. It's okay.
yeah, exactly. I mean, she's about to main event the next Stardom pay per view, so
Mhm.
we're right back on track. But the next match was Hikaru Shida and Hikari Noah teaming up to face the team of Yuki Kawafuku and Mahiro Kiru. This was the match that seemingly was supposed to go first. They moved it
Mhm.
back in the card. I kind of figured they would because Shida was in the match, and Shida's obviously the big name that people are, a lot of AEW fans are probably watching for, and this is maybe their first
Yeah.
TJBW event. So keeping her
True,
in
yeah,
the
get them to keep
yeah,
watching, yeah.
exactly. I think that's always smart. I really like Shida and Noah as a team first and foremost. I think they have just a great presence together,
I
which is
just have to
cool.
say, Shida was she was a terrible influence on Hikari Noah, and I loved it so much. Oh my god,
I
they were
I
menaces, and I loved it so much.
I love seeing Shida in this role really in TJPW of like
It was still new
co-
for me, actually,
yeah,
I'm still used to her being like a baby face, so
right.
watching her be this way was just like a whole new world opened up for me. Oh my
Mhm.
god, I couldn't get over it.
It's really funny too because like everyone's still cheering for her, but she's very vicious. She played that heel part without being a heel, essentially. And it rubbed off on Noah really well. And it made me realize like this is what I kind of want to see from Hikari Noah going forward, because I think
Mhm.
Hikari Noah, since losing that international princess title, has kind of been in a limbo of sorts. You kind of forget she's there sometimes, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I
But
mean, she has her tag team with free Wi-Fi, but it's still like,
right,
yeah, they're just there. There was a moment you thought maybe they would win the tag team titles, but they didn't. So now
exactly.
what? Yeah,
Right. So
and this was great.
giving her a big match, even just because she's team with Shida, it's not necessarily like big title match, big, you know, Mahiro is like one of the lower card people, but it still works in that sense because I thought those two gave a good performance. These two were a great team. And I do think that we are building to a big Shida match at Wrestle Princess. I mean, we do have a teased match they
Mhm.
haven't done yet with a certain Miyu Yamashita. I'm just saying, if they ever want to go back to
We
it,
got
or
that.
Maki
We got
Itoh.
that one
Yeah, we
too.
got both of them. We
Yeah,
better we better get one of them because they teased both of them so big,
I
and it's like,
know.
especially Wrestle Princess. I feel like that's the time we get big singles matches between
Yeah, and
everyone.
I
But
really
this,
want the Miyu match. I really want
I
it.
want both of them. I think we should just get both of them. I think that's fair. I mean, I could see another
I
tag match,
know.
but I don't want a tag match. I want singles.
No,
Singles different.
singles.
But
Absolutely,
uh,
especially if Sheeta's gonna be like that. Yes,
yeah.
please, and thank you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Uh I thought this match was, fine. Got the job done. But I liked the Noah Sheeta dynamic. That's really what I took out of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I felt like this was a, teacher-student moment for Noah, for her to get
Yes.
something from Shida, that's how I saw it. I do wanna give a shout out to Mahiro because that spot towards the end with the chair, it made
Yes.
me hope that that might lead to something. I found that very interesting where Hikaru Noah got the chair, was gonna use it, Mahiro stopped her, and then she had a moment where she deliberated, maybe I should use this chair. And throughout the match, Chris and Aki were saying like, "Oh, my hair is so great. She's such a good girl." Like they really built that
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
then she went and she used it. She was unsuccessful.
Yes.
And then unfortunately that was her demise. But it made me wonder, she took that small step, like she stepped over the line of the dark side. Is that
Mhm.
something that could happen for her in the future? Are we
Right.
teasing that? Or you know what? Like that has to lead to something. And I hope it does.
It would be kind of shocking if it doesn't now. I mean, once you tease something like that, it's a story. It's a chapter in a story that you gotta follow through because it's like,
Yeah, none of
maybe
this
she's sick
Chekhov's fun
of.
stuff.
It's kinda like we've seen this so many times. Maybe she's kinda sick of losing, you and me talk about Waka
Yeah.
Tsukiyama all the time and how, like, she's
Mhm.
on the edge of doing something like that. The same thing over and Mahiro doesn't lose as much as well, she don't win this much. She didn't win much. And but
She
I
like
like that.
she's another one in the
Yeah.
same, vein as Mocha, where she was just there for me,
Mm. Mhm.
and because I didn't hear reactions to her throughout the pandemic, I was pleasantly surprised to see how much the
Mhm.
fans love her. They
Yes.
really cheered for her, they really loved her, so that gives me hope. Alright, there is something that is
Yeah.
here that can happen, and I hope we continue going forward and pushing her in some way because she definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
She's got the ability. Let's make something happen. Let's go. Give me
Yes.
the book.
Speaking of people that should be pushed, sorry, I had to put that through. Mei Suruga and Suzume defeated the team of Riho and Arisu Endo. If you follow me, if you listen to any podcasts I do that involve Joshi, you know how high I am on Suzume. And I'm also I'm almost just as high on Arisu Endo as well, because I think the two are two of the best on this roster. Arisu Endo is like so good for her experience, like so good.
She, for me, really impressed me in this match
Yeah,
because I everyone else is more so a high flyer. So I thought, well, what's Arisa going to do? She was that grounded powerhouse that they needed in that match, and it highlighted her so much. It was so cool.
which is kind of crazy to me because Endo, like from what I've seen, she can be a really good high speed wrestler. Like
Mhm.
in the matches that she has, because sometimes Suzume is kind of more she's not she's kind of like the base of the team, like of Daisy
She's got
Monkey.
that technical prowess. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Endo will do a lot of the high octane stuff, but she did show like power here. And I just
Mhm.
think they're both so good. She had another haircut, by the way. Like she has a new haircut every single time she does a
I'm
show.
obsessed. As somebody who is, like, torn back and forth and wanting to dye my hair, and every time I see these Joshi wrestlers come out with a new hair color, I'm just like, can I do that, please? I wanna look as cool as they do. It's not fair."
Yeah, yeah,
But I loved it.
it's crazy, but you get to the match, and obviously the big names here are Saruga and Riho, just from their outside happening. You know, Riho is a former AEW Women's World Champion, but these two have plenty of history as they are both, you know, these students of Emi Sakura who, you know, not only are they the students of, they're kind of like the prize pupils of Emi Sakura,
Yes.
Riho and
They are her
Saruga.
daughters.
Yeah, so getting to see those two on such a big stage wrestle was awesome, you know, because you've seen them wrestle before, but there was just something here. They've both made it, right? Saruga has done AEW this year. She had that great high speed match with Zumi and Stardom. You know, she's made herself a big name. While Riho is I, it's always funny to say seasoned vet for Riho because she's still so young, but
She's
she
so
is the
young,
seasoned vet.
yeah.
She is the name. Like she is the proven, who Riho is. So seeing them go head to head was really cool, and kind of bringing up Suzume and Endo in response there was just made it that much better because I love all four of them, and I just really enjoyed this match. It was one of my most highly anticipated matches of this show,
Mhm.
and I thought they went out there and they delivered.
I wanna give a shout out to Maybe Surprise's music as well, because there's just something about it that reminds me of the Electric Light Parade
Mm.
at Disney, and then you
Mhm.
had May with her butterfly wings that actually
Yes,
did light up, and I'm just like,
I
"We're
love
here for a great time."
those.
I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with them, and I was worried at first because you have Riho and you have May, and they're so good. They come from the same teacher, but
Yeah.
it still allowed for Suzume and Arisu to have their moments, like,
Mhm.
everybody got to have a moment, and I don't know if you saw the conversation on Twitter, but a bunch of us were talking about like Emmy's influence, regarding who she's trained. And it made me realize like I had no idea that Emmy had a part in training Mizuki. Emmy's DNA is all over Joshi.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
wild. And
Mhm.
here it was on full display. You have 2 of Emmy's prized pupils from different generations going toe to toe. So they know each other very well. Like Chris and Aki said on commentary, they're like, Riho knows what May's gonna do. She knows the antics. You can't fool
Yeah.
her. It was beautiful. And man, I know people keep saying it about AEW, but let Emmy take over the women's
Mhm.
roster, please. Oh my god, just imagine, like, the work she has done, the influence she's had in Joshi, it's phenomenal. There are so many amazing wrestlers out there, and getting to see them, especially Riho and Bay. Oh my god, I'm choking up. It was great. It was absolutely great. Go out of your way to see that
Yeah.
tag match, seriously.
Yeah. The thing that I always say about Emmy is she will be appreciated so much more when she's not in the business as much, like when she's
Oh, yeah.
retired, which is, you know, it's
When
a
you
shame, but that's
realize
just
after the
sometimes how
fact,
it goes.
yeah.
So it's like, oh wow, like because you're gonna have, you know, the rehos teaching, and it's like, well, that's the branch, right? Like it started here. It started with Emmy, and it just goes down through, and it's going around the world now because she's in AEW. She's teaching other wrestlers, and you know, you just gotta. I'm with you. Like, you just wish that they would let her kind of take that over and just be like, "This is how we do it," because she's so good. You know, your first AEW Women's World Champion is a Emi Sakura trainee. Like, clearly, you guys see what she was able to do. I think she trained Hikaru Shida a little bit or something.
Yes, she
Yeah, yeah.
did.
So, right.
So
I
you got
always
2 of Emmy's girls.
right. Two AEW Women's Champions. So, like, come on, like they just got to do it. But this match, back to the match, I just want to give credit to. I want to give credit to Suzume and Endo one more time. They were really, really good at kind of making the match about them in the end, which was really important. I thought because
Because they
listen,
were
they're
yeah, they're tag team partners, so
yeah,
that was really interesting, and then Suzume pinning Endo, so, oh, what's gonna happen now?
yeah. This is
Oh,
the
yeah. Also,
discussion.
it needs to be mentioned, Suzume's costume,
Oh yeah, the
beautiful.
brand new
I
one.
am obsessed with it. Yes.
Yeah,
I love a good costume, so I just need to
yeah.
put that out there.
It's very important, I think, that these two ended the match because you know, as I like to say, who's going to be here tomorrow? These two are going to be here.
Yeah.
So letting them get that final stretch to close out the match was really cool. Really good match. Just like the Miyu and Rio one. Go out of your way to check this one out if you haven't already, because I think it just showcases a lot of what makes Joshi special, but what also makes Emi Sakura special in a lot of
Oh, yeah.
ways. Um, Next match, the International Princess Championship was on the line as Maki Itoh defended against international star Alex Windsor. I have watched Alex Windsor a couple times over the past few months. I saw her match against Shoko Nakajima from Pro Wrestling Eve from a few months ago. I watched her match with, I think it was Venny. Yeah, I
I
think it was
watched that
Venny
one.
from
That was
She
my
Won.
introduction to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
saw that
then
one.
she just had a match, I think last weekend with Miyu Yamashita from a show in Spain, which was really good as well.
Right.
And that's
Yes,
on
they did face each
YouTube.
other.
If anyone wants to check that out, that's on YouTube. I forget I think the company's called like RCW or something. Something Barcelona. It's in
Something like
Barcelona.
yeah. And then
Um
the show is, like, called Mamma Miyu or something. Mommy
yeah, it's like
Miyu, Miyu
it's
Mommy.
like Miyu Mame or something. It's
Mhm.
yeah, it's RCW, by the way. Got that checked. It is RCW. So definitely check that out. But Alex Windsor, you know, here, I think one first time in TJPW,
Yes, it is.
she and by the way, she did not have her wrestling gear. It got lost on the way
No.
here. So she was wearing Chris Brooks's like pants and pads or something
Big
he was talking
pads,
about. And she,
yeah.
she just had like a sports bra on. Doesn't matter. Didn't matter. She
Nope,
didn't.
it
It
goes to
didn't matter.
show it's not about the
She could have.
costume.
She could have wrestled
As
in
much as I love
just
them.
straight up street clothes. It didn't matter. She played a fantastic heel to the ultimate baby face that is Maki Itoh. And this was really when the crowd hit me big time. Was just every
Mhm.
time they reacted to Maki Itoh. It enhanced this match for me more than any because of how much they wanted Itoh to win. And seeing, the foreign star come in and take that title. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I think Alex Windsor's great. I think she is
Uh-huh.
such a great person to bring in. And if I was to give anyone a title right off the bat, right, that's not from the TJPW roster, I think she's a good one to do because she's making waves and now she can come in for shows and just be that heel jerk that I think she was just so good at it, and the
Mhm.
crowd is really what helped that, obviously, because she's talking to the crowd and being like, "I don't care about you," blah blah. Sometimes people say typical heel stuff, but when you don't have those crowd reactions for so long, it just feels so brand new. And Itoh again, heart breaks that she lost because she's my favorite
I
here in
know,
TJPW,
same.
and I know she's headed to America for the again in August 13th and 14th.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah,
why
she has
she's
to miss
not.
the Tokyo Princess Cup.
Yeah, that broke my heart when they announced that. I was like, this stinks. Why I didn't sign up for this? But the match was really, really good. Definitely worth going out of your way to see again. The last few matches are really just go watch these. But
Yeah.
Windsor was great. Ito was great. What an emotional match.
I think it's worth noting, because Alex Windsor was brand new to me. It wasn't like she came out of nowhere. I think it's safe to say that
Yeah.
she is somebody that the world of wrestling is pushing because she is the current Rev Pro undisputed British Women's Champion and the Wrestle Carnival's Queen of Carnival Champion. And now she has added a third belt. And what I liked, and it goes to show how great Chris and Aki are at commentary, we didn't really get a story for this match. It was that Alex won the She Won tournament and then said, "Hey, I'm going after Maki Itoh. I want your title." Boom, that was
Mhm.
it. And Chris added the context that she wants to be recognized as the number one international champion. So she went after Maki, and then Laura Di Matteo in Eve has the Eve national title. So
Mhm.
the stipulation was Alex has to win Maki's title in order to challenge for the Eve international title, which she did. So that's something that's set up. And also, I created this basic guide to TJPW video with Ryan Dilbert from Wrestle Inn. And when I was going through, who had won this international princess title, I realized, oh, Thunder Rosa is the only woman who isn't from Japan to win that title. So tiny little inkling in my mind went, I think we're gonna see somebody else who's
Mhm.
not from Japan win that title, and sure enough, because that is the whole point of this title.
Yeah.
So as sad as I am to see Maki lose, I have a grand scheme, I have a grand plan for her. It's okay. I'm okay with this, but I am excited to see now what's gonna happen with this title because now that the world has started to reopen more and more, the belt gets to do what it's meant to do.
Right.
And going back to what you said about the crowd reaction, I was not prepared for that. The way that Maki commanded that crowd just by
Mhm.
pointing her finger and they cheered
Yep.
for her. That is the impact of Maki Itoh. That is why she is so important and so significant to the global expansion of TJPW. And this is why some AEW fans who don't get it, watch this match and you will get it. And it's worth commending Maki for how I feel she adapted herself in that match, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Because
She's
what I
really good
saw
at
from
that.
her, yeah, I didn't know what to expect between the two. It was like Alex had been in TJPW this whole time. She
Mhm.
just was so seamless in fitting in. The two of them worked really well together, and Maki adapted to a more grounded and vicious style to try to counter Alex.
Yeah.
It was so cool to watch, and it shows not to underestimate Maki. And she did a Frankensteiner, tried to do a Frankensteiner for the first
Yeah.
time ever, and when that happened, I was like, "She's learning, she's adapting."
Yeah.
So, there's big plans for Maki Itoh. Do not sleep on her, do not doubt her. Seriously, she's much better than you may think she is if you're a
Mhm.
doubter. She's so good.
Yeah, she is. I think it's
And
worth
right.
noting also, Alex Windsor was retired for nearly 4 years.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa. Get out.
So she returned to wrestling in August 2021. She had been
Oh,
gone since December 2017 actually. So she missed a chunk of her career, has come back and just been excellent since coming
oh my
back.
god.
And I think there's a lot of the reason a lot of us didn't know who she was until recently. It's because she hasn't been around. But it's really cool to just see her succeed. And she's the heel, and I hate watching Itoh lose. But now we can go to Itoh for the Princess champion. That's what's most important. That's the road
That is my
we're all on.
plan.
Yeah,
That is
that's
my
the road
plan.
everyone's on. But this
Do
match
not
was really
fret.
good. This match was actually my second favorite of the show. So
Mm.
if that matters to anyone that's
Third favorite
listening,
for me.
there you
Third
go.
favorite.
So top three both for us, and her number 2 was my number 3. So yeah, I guess everyone can figure out what was number 1. Uh, um, but
I
we got a
don't
bit we got a big match next. Thunder Rosa versus Miyu Yamashita. Big match. Thunder Rosa, by the way, great reactions.
Miyu.
People love to see her. But Miyu, obviously, as the ace, she was again the baby face of the match. And this was kind of like the unwritten rule. Thunder Rosa said it would happen. It wasn't like an official stipulation or anything. But if
Yeah, it was like a
Yamashita
backstage
won,
comment.
yeah,
Yeah.
if Yamashita won, she'd get an AEW Women's World Title match wherever, whenever she wanted. Well, not wherever. It has to be in the United States.
In the
But
US, yeah.
yeah, but you get a point. Hopefully, all out. That's what I'm hoping. But spoiler alert: Miyu Yamashita did pin Thunder Rosa in the middle of the ring with a nice small package. Small package. Small package. Was it small? She
I can't even
cradle.
remember anymore because I still can't get over the skull kick and
Yeah,
how
that's true.
Rosa broke it.
Yeah. It,
Like she was knocked out and somehow reached for that rope. And I was like, what?
yeah.
And then they just kept going. And all of a sudden, Mia won. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was
And
so good.
I think the way I looked at this match was I thought it was really good, really entertaining, but they have another gear that they're saving. That's what I
Oh
felt.
my
I
God.
think
Yes.
they
Oh, yes.
saved a next gear for what will be that title match, which I think is very smart. I think that's what you do when you have 2 matches coming up within a couple months. Save stuff, right?
Oh,
We got
yeah.
the skull kick, which was great, but there's more to come between these two, and that's
Oh,
what's really
yeah. The
exciting.
way that I saw it, this was my first time seeing Thunder Rosa in TJPW. So I was
Mhm.
greatly excited. I didn't know what to expect. And everyone was like, she gets to wrestle how she wants. Get ready. And it was so cool to see the way those two went back and forth and to go OOC, as they say on the internet, out of character. I loved how Rosa allowed Miyu to shine in this match because that is gonna set up this AEW World Women's match because they're gonna go all out, and I really hope they're allowed to go all out.
Yeah,
It was the perfect setup. So I am so
yeah,
excited, and like you said, I hope they get to have a big platform for that match, and it's not something that's on Dark or Rampage. Like,
yeah.
just let it
Not
shine, let them
Dynamite
shine.
either. I think
Oh,
Dynamite's a big stage, but I think
yeah,
pay-per-view is where you should go with this match. You have it set
yeah.
up. You have just under 2 months to that show. You can take your time to get there, right? Like
Mhm.
Miyu is busy with the Tokyo Princess Cup for the time being. She also has a show in New Jersey next weekend. So she's busy, right? She's busy for the time being. Thunder Rosa could be busy. Build to all out. Go to all out. That's where we go. I think that's the best case scenario for both of them. It's kind of like when
Mhm.
Thunder Rosa came in a few years ago to face Hikaru Shida when she wasn't in the
Ooh.
company. It's kind of like a little
Ooh.
flip of the switch here,
Ooh, that's
which I
cool.
which I like a lot. But Miyu Yamashita was great. Thunder Rosa was great. Again, they definitely saved a lot for their potential title match, but they still had a really, really good match. So that's
Oh,
just a
they
credit to how
did.
good they are. Very
Is it now,
physical.
have you noticed so we have a partnership with AEW. Like it was announced a few months ago, AEW is partnering with DDT and TJPW. We are really seeing the TJPW partnership
Oh
come to
yeah,
fruition,
yeah.
but it's happening outside of AEW.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's on purpose or what, but man, they're producing great matches, great content, and it's
Yeah,
all outside of AEW. So that's why, again, we are rooting for Thunder Rosa versus Miyu Yamashita to be on a big AEW platform. Bring it back home
yeah.
in a big way. So I'm on Tony Khan.
I think it's fair. Like Tony Khan gets Konosuke Takeshita for like an entire year, so I think it's okay. He can send Hikaru Shida and Riho, and, all these and Thunder Rosa to to the women's brand of cyber fight. I think that's fair. If you get a guy for an entire year, it's like,
Someone as good as
that's really cool,
Takeshita, yeah.
right? So I think that's fair. But I think we'll see. Well, we Yuka pops in and out a little bit when she comes to the States. Like she came to the States for the Pro Wrestling Gorilla show, so they got her
Mhm.
on the an
Oh,
episode of
that
Dark.
last
But
minute flight that they brought her in for, where it was like, "Alright,
yeah,
you could
when
just
she fought
finish a show,"
Riho,
and now she's on a plane to US, yeah.
right? She fought Riho in the Owen Hart tournament, which was probably the
Mhm.
best match of that entire tournament, in my opinion. Um, yeah, so there are they use it a little less in the States, but I don't think you can use it much more than Miyu Yamashita coming in for a pay-per-view world title match. I think that is how you do it, right? That's an even trade. I think, and it's a win for all of us. But let's get here to the semi-main event of the evening. It
Mhm.
was the Magical Sugar Rabbits defending their titles, Yuka Sakazaki Mizuki, against the team of Saki Kai and Yuki Arai. They had one tag team match together going into this show, and they walked out as tag team champions. Yuki Arai wins her first title. Well, technically second title of her career. She had the DDT like crazy one
Iron
back in the
Man,
day,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
this is her first TJPW, first real title reign as a wrestler. Really emotional moment for her. Saki Akai and her work really well together. I think Saki Akai kind of being the lead of that team is very smart
Yeah.
because then she can learn along the way. I like Saki Akai, I like Saki
Oh, yeah.
Sama, different people, obviously, but I just
Of
wanted to say I like
course.
them both. Um, but this
But they
match
both
was
have
it
great
was
fashion sense.
it, that's true. Very different, but also a lot of similarities. Um, this match was interesting to me because it was a big test for Yuki once again, back to back major shows. She's in big title matches. And I thought this might have been the best performance she's ever had as a, start to finish wrestler. I thought, she
Oh,
looked good in
yeah.
there. She showed a lot of fire, a lot of fight, which is something she's shown a lot. But that fire and fight to kind of like to survive against this is like if there's a Mount Rushmore of tag teams in TJPW, Magical Sugar Rabbits might be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like that's how important they are to the tag division, and they
Yes.
beat them. And it was just crazy emotional in a lot of ways when they got that title win, because it was like, Yuki Rai debuted in the pandemic as a
Mm.
full-time wrestler,
Yeah,
and
it's,
she
like,
worked
been
her
a year
way.
now, right?
Yeah, I think she's been around for a year. Probably a
Yeah.
year and like change, year and like
Yeah, I know she
very
was
little
at
bit.
Cyber Fight Festival last year, so
Right.
probably a few months prior to
Yeah.
that.
So
So that's
so
that's wild.
it's cool to see once, reactions are back, she has the best performance of her career. It's very fitting,
Oh, that audience
and she was
loved
emotional. Yeah.
her.
Yeah, well,
Oh my god.
that's why, like, I always talk to people whenever I talk to people, like, I'm like, "Yuki Rai is gonna be just fine. She's very popular." Like, when you have the, previous not previous career because she's still in the group, but, like, when you have that,
The
it
idols, yeah.
you're gonna be popular. You're gonna be popular, and I thought it worked really well because Yuki Rai went out there and had the best performance of her career.
Oh, yes, and as you said, like, teaming her with Saki Akai was brilliant. That was a genius plan for whoever came up with that, which, so we have Magical Sugar Rabbits. It should be noted, they do have a tag team name. I was told, shout out to Juan, that it's Reiwa's Double A Cannon. I I was going for Sakurai, but I'll accept it. But the way that those 2 work together, especially with the kicks, because Yuki Arai has, like, that huge high axe kick, it just blended really well with Saki Akai's, arsenal, and yeah, it was a great moment for Yuki, and she held her own against the Magical Sugar Rabbits to the point where she and Saki basically terrorized Mizuki. I was not expecting that. But also Mizuki fighting back, she bit Saki at one point, I was like, "What's going on?"
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a battle, and oh man, I think it was a great decision to have those two win, even though like they'd only tag teamed one time, and that was in the middle of June. And then Yuki was like, "All right, I want to go for the tag team belts now." Like for the popularity that the both of them have, if you want to have an outreach like from the business side, have
Yeah.
those 2 as tag team champions.
Mhm.
So, that was a great decision, though it broke my heart. Did you see at the end? So, Yuka trying to reach for Mizuki as Saki is pinning her, and then at the very
Yeah.
end just grabs her hand. And I'm like, "Oh my god. You're killing me, Smalls. You're
Like,
killing
it's
me."
it's those little storytelling bits that work so
Yes.
well. Um,
It broke my heart, and yeah, it not for naught, those 2 have had a phenomenal run. They have 2 very long reigns as tag team champions that I learned about, and yeah, it's time for new blood, as they say. So, let's move on to the next generation. Let's get some new people
yeah.
in there. So, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's really the best way to look at it. Now they have a new direction. They have 2 new people at the top. Um, does kind of hurt the hopes that I had of we getting Magical Sugar Rabbits versus Yamashita and Itoh one more time, but it's okay. It's okay. Now they can have different big matches, which is cool. Um,
Yeah.
Main event time, Shoko Nakajima defending the Princess of Princess Championship against Rika Tatsumi. And I just have to be honest, heartbreaking. Heartbreaking when Rika she came so close. I want her to win
I saw
so
that and I
bad.
was like, I did not think that she was gonna win, but she
Uh,
had me
I
believing that she could.
didn't either, but I want her to win so bad.
She this was a different side for me. Like I knew that Rika was good. I saw her against Miyu Yamashita for the pop title when she was champion last year, but I was not prepared. Like that match was not what I expected, but I didn't know what I was going to expect. And it blew my mind. It was so good. Rika was so perfect. She was so vicious, so evil. She was a brilliant antagonist for Shoko. The way that she went after Shoko's legs, it was perfection. I can't get over it. Like going back to like storytelling, the story that they told in the ring. Oh my goodness, I was so delighted. I have no words.
I loved the match. I do have one complaint. This is just me being really annoying because I
Wow.
was emotionally sad. I I thought the finish was really sudden. You know, because she was in the sleeper, the dragon sleeper, right? And it looked like she
It
was out.
was.
She rolls out of it, hits DDT, senton win. I'm like, whoa, 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 what just happened? I just thought Rika
That
was about to win, and then boom, she
I
lost.
yeah, I was so impressed with that, but I will say, I will note that Rika did not get those legs around Shoko quickly enough.
Yes.
She had her in the
Yeah.
sleeper, but she was on one knee the entire time, and that was a
Yeah.
really long time. Because I rewatched that match because I thought the same thing, but keeping that in mind, it
Yeah.
gave Shoko some sort of opportunity
Mhm.
to reverse, but I would have expected a little more
Yeah.
momentum into Shoko getting the win. So I'll credit you on that.
I think rolling out, getting the DDT made sense, but like
Mhm.
she was just getting choked out, right? Like
Yeah.
this is just me being critiquing. It's fine. It was great. It was a fantastic match of the night. You know, all
When a match is so great, that's when you start like
it,
breaking down the
right. It's
details.
in
It's
the
okay.
conversation of best match of the
Yeah.
weekend in a conversation that features Shuri versus Momo Watanabe, Saya Kamatani versus Starlight Kid, and Chihiro Hashimoto versus Asuka. Like those, it's in that conversation. So credit to them for what they did. It was just me being critical of like, okay, well it looked like she was choked out. She flips out of gets the DT. That's cool. That's fine. But like I needed that work to get to that diving senton for the win. Again,
Yeah.
this is just me being
We
a
needed
pain.
it wasn't a high enough climax. So, yeah, I will
Yeah.
give you that. Like, we needed that proper climax for Shoko to have that win because that was huge that she got out of the Dragon Sleeper. Like, I was impressed.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It was
"Whoa, how's she
great.
gonna get out of that?" But,
Right.
yeah, it just if it went, like, for, like, 30 seconds more at least, then it
Yeah.
really would have had
It,
a bigger
it's one of
impact.
those things where you hit the DDT and then you're just kind of like, sit there, let everyone digest, like, holy crap, she not only survived, she got
Yeah.
that on, and then you climb to the top. Maybe you try to get a pin after the DDT, like, you just put your arm
Yes.
over, like,
Something,
just something
yeah.
like that, because
And that's the emotional impact, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was emotionally impacted when Rika lost, like, 'cause I was like, "Oh my god, she's out, and then she lost." So it's like that also makes it play, but that's what being a wrestling fan is all about. It's about those
It
emotions that fill you in situations like that. But this was a fantastic main event, uh, great main event to put on this show, and now Shoko Nakajima is still champion, so she has beaten everyone pretty much, it feels like, right? She's
Yep.
beaten
Mhm.
Yamashita, she's beaten Sakazaki, she's beaten Tatsumi, she's beaten Aino, she's beaten Hyper Masao, but beating Yamashita, Yuka, and Tatsumi, those are all well, Yamashita to win the title, but they're all
They're big
former
ones, yeah.
champions. That's such a big deal. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of Princess champions to beat, right? So
Oh,
beating
yeah.
all of them is crazy. But now we go to the Tokyo Princess Cup, and before we just do a quick rundown of that lineup and give a few thoughts on that, where does this show rank for you out of all the shows you've seen this year? Because I've
Oh
heard
my
show of the
gosh.
year, I've heard top 5 show of the year, top 10. I will give you the simplicity of calling it, you can just say top 10, top 5, top
Top 3.
5, top
Top 3.
3. There we go. All
Yeah,
right.
going top 3. 'Cause, if I look back at I absolutely love Grand Princess. I would put
Mhm.
this above that.
Wow.
But yeah, oh man. And for me to say that because I'm coming off of Cyber Fight Festival when it comes to the Cyber Fight promotions.
Right.
And I didn't think they could, reach that level because I mean, just those entrances alone were phenomenal. But in terms of the way that they
Yeah.
produced that show, those matches, it flowed so well. To me, when I can watch a show and not get bored, it's a
Right.
huge win. And
Right.
they had my attention. I was just rooting for everybody. And perhaps having, a cheering audience
Mhm.
does skew my opinion, but whatever, it's my opinion.
Exactly.
It was great. It was so fun. Like, you can tell that they went all in on this show and they delivered. Oh, I loved it.
Hmm. Now I have to think. I asked the question, but I didn't actually have my
It
own answer.
it's
I
it
think
it's hard. There's so many good shows, like, it's so
yeah,
hard to remember everything as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Um, hmm, okay. I think it was the best TJPW show of the year. I think
Mm,
that's where I can start, is that I think it did beat Grand Princess in terms of just overall quality and excitement. And obviously, again, the crowd does help a lot, but I think it beats that. Where do I put it in my top, lineup here of shows? I've watched so many
you're
shows
a
like yourself.
Stardom
It's
guy
like
as well.
I know. I Flashing Champions is my show of the year.
Oh,
Just
yeah?
because I think so. I don't know. I don't know. My head's jumbled now. I can't even think of like what's happened. I am a
There's so
Stardom
much.
guy,
That's another
so
thing. There's so much, yeah.
admittedly, whatever I say now is not going to matter because we still have another 5 months of wrestling, and this will be a completely different list by the end of that. Like
Yeah.
last year, my show of the year was the 5-star Grand Prix final. Yeah, final
Ooh,
because like
okay.
all so I don't know. There's so much to happen, but I think it's in my top 10 safe off. This is me being as safe as possible because I can't think of every show that I've watched, but it's definitely high up there. I think it's one of the best shows in Japan all year, which is
Mhm.
probably most of my top 10, so that probably helps you too. Um it was just a killer show. Must watch for anyone that's listening to the show. But TJPW keeps it going now. They're going to the Tokyo Princess Cup, their signature tournament of the year.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's very exciting because I think after that show ended the other day, I was like, oh, they just didn't release the lineups. Awesome. Which I was just hoping for. I was like, oh, okay. They reveal these. They do them random. They do like, I guess the whole gimmick behind it is they do like a randomizer, or
Mhm.
pick names out of a hat, because some people get buys into the next round. Some people win and they go all the way to the final 8. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting tournament, but I think it's best to just kind of go down the bracket. And since Karen's with me, I'm going to put her on the spot. I'm going to make her predict her final 4,
My
because
final 4, I already know my final one.
oh, that's perfect. Then
Oh, man.
this will be very easy then. So
It
here are
final 4 though, oh my god.
So this is the Tokyo Princess Cup tournament number 9. Starting at the top, we got Nakajima versus Runeko. The winner of that will face Mizuki in the next round. We have Risu Endo versus Miyu Watanabe, what I think will be the best match of the first round, or at least the match I'm most looking forward to the first round, besides this one as well. Miyu Yamashita versus Hyper Masao. You can just imagine the excitement that match has for so many reasons. And the winner of that will face Raku. Very funny that the winner of a Miyu Yamashita match will have to then face someone like that. But
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
fun of it. That's the
Don't
fun that
underestimate
we
her.
get to have with it. And they're doing that match afterward, on the 18th, because I believe they're doing it that early because Yamashita will not be around the weekend after. So they just made sure to set that match early enough so that she doesn't have to miss it. So that's very cool. If she wins,
Gotcha.
of course. Then we have Naoki versus Yuki Aino at the bottom. Now we go to the right side of the bracket. We got Mihiro versus Yuki Arai. The winner of that will face Hikari Noah in the second round. We have Kaya Toribami versus Yuka Sakazaki. The winner of that goes to the final 8, the Elite 8, as people like to call it. Then we'll
Oh,
have
yeah.
we got Palm versus Mocha Bro. Hopefully, personally, Mocha uses her momentum from her big win this past weekend to move on. That's what I'm hoping. And then the winner of that will face Suzume, in the is that not the Elite 8, just the round before it. And after that, it'll be Yuki Kawafuku versus Rika Tatsumi, to close out the first round. So lots of big matches there. The bracket's very confusing if you don't look at it
It
like I just
is.
did, because I just like broke my own brain. I was like, what? Well, there's matches. So some people just go right
I didn't
to,
notice the 8s, the ones that just go
yeah,
right into the Elite 8. I'm like, "Wait, this changes
yeah.
everything."
Some people just go right to the Elite 8. Others have to wrestle multiple matches. It's weird. Some people have really difficult roads to get there.
Mhm.
But since you already have your final 4, how are you feeling?
I don't have my final 4.
Oh,
I
you have
have
your
my
winner though.
final
Then
1.
I'll just
I
give you,
have
who is your winner?
if I look at this, oh man, it's so much pressure to pick a final 4.
I missed Maki Itoh testimony. I'm so sad.
Oh.
I'm so
Okay,
sad
if
Maki
I'm gonna
Ito's
go
here.
for let me look at the right side of the bracket because I have it in front of me. I'm gonna go with oh man, you think you wanna go with Yuka Sakazaki, but, I'm gonna go with Hikari Noa, I'm gonna go with an upset, so she's gonna be on the right side, and then
That's
her
tough.
opponent for the final 4 is Suzume. I'm backing
I
Suzume.
would love
We're going
that.
with some
I
youngins
hope
here.
so.
And
I
on
hope
the
so.
other side, Miyu Watanabe, and yeah, I see an upset. What I see happening is that it's gonna be Shoko and Mizuki eliminates Shoko.
I agree. I agree.
And so I got Miyu Watanabe going into the final 4 versus oh god, oh god, oh god.
To be
I'm
fair,
trying
I
to
think the
think.
bottom of the bracket, it's kind of like a one-person race.
It it hinges yeah, it hinges on Miyu's schedule, that's the problem.
Yeah.
To ensure that Miyu is gonna make it to the
Well,
like,
they
if she
set it
can make
up
it to
for
the
her to be
final.
there. They set it up
Okay.
for her to be there.
Okay, so then I'll just pick Miyu Yamashita, and oh man, it would be Miyu versus Miyu, I'm gonna freak out. I
But
want
I
Miyu
could see her
Watanabe
lose
to
to
win.
Hyper too. That's a crazy.
I
Oh,
that's true, but Miyu Watanabe is who I am putting all of my chips in on. I wanna see her win. So,
it's
that's who I'm going with.
it's worth noting the winner of this, of course, goes on to main event Wrestle Princess against presumably Shoko Nakajima.
Yeah.
My two choices for the winner are in the same in the same bracket. It's Watanabe and Mizuki. Like those are the two that I've had in my head for
Yeah.
months. So it's kind of cruel that they put them in the same spot. I mean, I was like, whoa, 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 what are we doing here?
Yeah,
Um,
because for me, it's easy to assume Mizuki, but she's won it a few times already.
yeah,
But I feel like Shoko is going through some sort of trials. I don't know how many, but Mizuki has to be next on the plate for
yeah,
her. So
yeah,
that's why I see if Mizuki doesn't make it to the semifinal or the final, she's gonna beat Shoko Nakajima to give her
right.
the opportunity
Mhm.
to go for the pop title. And that's how we
Yes,
get that in there. I don't see Mizuki winning because in my mind, it's coming back around to Maki Itoh. We're coming back to Maki Itoh
I hope
somehow.
so.
I think Shoko is gonna be who she faces, but that could change. All I
Yeah,
know is Maki Itoh.
yeah. I thought it was going
So,
to be
that's where I'm
Miyu
at.
Ashika. It is worth noting that three three of the final four are in the same quarter of the bracket this year. Shoko, Mizuki, Miyu Watanabe, all in the same little corner, and
It's
it's
not
very,
right.
very mean. It's very mean. So I
It
kind of feel bad for
is.
Endo and Neko, who are just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're fighting the people that were right
We're just
there at the
here.
end. Yeah, but lots of fun to look forward to. That starts this coming weekend on Wrestle Universe, which you could subscribe to. Karen, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a blast. We've went a solid
Yay!
hour of this two-parter,
Oh,
two-part
man.
review episode. I'll let you do, all the good plugs and whatnot because I know you have your plugs, even though it says Karen watches wrestling on the screen. So hopefully people follow you already if you're listening, but always good for
Yeah.
the new listeners.
Yeah, if you wanna check me out, you can find me on YouTube at Karen Watches Wrestling. The whole concept is that I am learning about the wonderful world of Japanese pro wrestling. So, match reactions, I do some deep dives into character profiles. I did the entire history of the Bullet Club for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that was ridiculous. But I also love to highlight the Joshi wrestlers. They're definitely my favorites. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I can't say that's going to be as exciting, but you can find me at Karen Murray underscore after that. And yeah, come along, come say hi, check out, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yes, make
I'm
sure
still
to
not good at promoting
subscribe.
myself.
To be fair, I'm usually terrible. Every time I'm on a show, someone's like, "Oh, you want to do your plugs?" I'm like, "No, not really." I'm like, uh, you
Description
know,
box down below.
my best way, I'll do my plugs at the end of the second part, so I will not do that. But if you want to stick around, which you should, because we're about to review the Stardom Midsummer Champions show and talk a little bit about the news around there because they have so much news. Make sure to keep watching because this is not it. But Karen, thank you so much for coming on. Great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. Thank you again for having me. It was a blast. And yeah, check out Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, Summer Sun Princess. Go subscribe to Wrestle Universe. You will not regret it. That was my mean face. That was like,